Those Nets, they're a bunch of fugazis. Yeah. Oh man, I shouldn't talk too much. The Knicks were almost the fugazis tonight, but did just enough. Did just enough to come out with a win. This was by no means a pretty win. This is not a win that is going to make anybody feel particularly great about where things stand with New York at the moment. It's crazy. I don't know what this says about me or the team right now. It probably says something about something, but here are the Knicks, who are 10-2 in their last 12 games, 10-2 since acquiring OG Anunoby. They keep banging out these wins against a fairly easy schedule, but there's been some quality wins in there too. And yet you go into these two games against the Nuggets and the Heat, and like I mean, if you have confidence heading into these next two games, God bless you, because I don't. Because it's like we have yet to see, other than maybe the Philly game, which was wild. Other than maybe that game, we have yet to see a really complete game from this team since before the trade, certainly. And tonight was anything but a complete game. It was certainly not a complete game. It was not a complete effort from the Knicks. I think I don't want to say the tone of the game was set right out of the gate, because I don't know if that's fair. They didn't. I don't know if I would say they lollygagged it, but we know when the Knicks come out with their maximum effort and their maximum attention to detail on both ends of the floor. That is not what this was. And again, this is kind of going with a theme that we have seen a lot over the last 3 weeks, which is going into a game in which they know they are better than their opponent. They know that their opponent has no business being on the same court with them if the Knicks play their best. So what do the Knicks do? They don't play their best. And it was some more of the turnovers that we have seen that we don't like so much. I thought some of the 3-point defense let the Nets get a little too comfortable. And it just wasn't the kind of effort that you would see from a team looking to just put their foot down and like dispense with an opponent that is overmatched. And that is, I looked it up this morning. I think they're like 4-5 and 14 over 4-15 or something over. Just a god awful record. They were 13-10 at one point, and I don't know what the hell the Nets are now. It's not very good. And then the third quarter starts, and wouldn't you know it, a team that has a bunch of guys who are capable of making shots got hot, and they hit 6 of 7 from deep there in the third quarter, which is absurd. Obviously, Mikal Bridges caught fire. Cam Johnson, I think, started off the game 4 for 4 from deep. I don't even know what he finished. 4 or 5. So he missed his last one. I forget. It was probably a big one I'm forgetting about. But, and that's the risk you run anytime you play quite literally any team in the NBA. If you let them hang around, doesn't matter how bad they are. If it's a game at halftime, team can come out in the third quarter, especially if they are on their home court, especially if they're probably pissed off that 85% of the people in the arena are rooting for the other team. And, you give them life. And the Nets certainly gave the Knicks life there. And I this is going to be a positive post game. I'm happy they won. Look, it's the end of June. I wish it was the end of June. We were talking about a Knicks win. It's the end of January, and the Knicks just won a game to go to 26-17. Like, I don't care what your assessment of this team is. Like, I don't care what your expectations were before the season. You cannot be unhappy with 26-17. Like, they're half game back to Cleveland now. Like, they're in the run, obviously, and they're in the running for the 4 seed. They might be in the running for 3 seed. Who knows? Maybe they screw around, then they're in the running for the 2 seed. But they're at a good spot, and you get into this point in the season, it's like just rack up wins. Doesn't matter how you do it, rack up wins. All that being said, I thought they almost set the tone for what would have been a very disappointing loss in those first few minutes of the third quarter when we saw all of their bugaboos, come to light. It was started off with not a great shot from Julius Randle. They gave up an offensive rebound. They gave up a bunch of ththose in the first half. We'll get back to that issue later. A bad turnover, another offensive rebound, and then another turnover. So, all the stuff that when the Knicks lose games, we see them doing this stuff. So Then they were in a dogfight. Got to the bench minutes, the very, very dicey bench minutes. I thought after the bench played poorly, to put it politely, in the first half, some big minutes from the bench. Some absolutely big minutes from the bench to end the third or really start the fourth quarter. And just keep them afloat. Just keep them afloat with a combination of defensive intensity, just enough shot making. Deuce McBride, I think he only finished with 5 points in the game. No, finished 8 points in the game, excuse me, because he hit a 3 in the first half. But his 5 points in the fourth quarter, that little mid-ranger, and then that big above the break 3, I thought those were huge baskets. And not to be outdone, I'm curious what people are going to say about OG Anunoby after this game. Did not have a great stat line. Almost was the goat, not good goat, bad goat. When he went for that steal at the end there on the Nets' final possession and didn't get it. If you're going to go for that steal, man, you better get that steal. Because once you don't get it, you've just compromised your entire defense. And Cam Johnson, of course, that was the 3 that Cam Johnson missed. How the fuck could I forget that? It just happened 5 minutes ago. It essentially got the Nets a far better shot than they had any right to get because he went for that steal and didn't get it. All that being said, and I know McCall had a great game. OG, it's not the first time we've seen this switch a little bit too liberally, and the Nets were getting McCall on other people not named OG Anunoby. That's how he got all those points. Minor issue, but his defense I thought was exceptional throughout the night. His offense at the beginning of the fourth quarter cannot be forgotten because they needed to buy. I mean, look, we're talking about a Knicks team that is now down one center in Mitchell Robinson, and we'll see how long it lasts. It's one game so far. Will it be 2 games? Will it be 3 games? Will it be more than 3 games without Isaiah Hartenstein? And you saw Tibbs be a little bit more conservative with minutes tonight. So like they need these guys. I don't know how I just got on that topic, but OG Anunoby, again, the beginning of the fourth quarter, those minutes were massive because that's how I got on the topic because Tibbs was really trying to buy some time with the bench and started off with a big defensive play. And then power drive, scored 2, another good offensive possession, made another field goal, and then got fouled. 6 big points. 6 really big points there, in addition to those 5 points from Deuce. Underrated, unheralded portion of the game that, again, kept the Knicks in striking distance. And then, again, trying to preserve these guys, OG Anunoby sits down, got very nervous when he sat down for Julius Randle because Julius Randle, let me tell you, man, I was getting ready to come on here and not kill Julius because I'm past that. Like, we're done killing Julius. Like, Julius, I've said this so many times this year. Julius is what he is. Sometimes you're going to get bad Julius. But even amongst the bad Julius games, I thought tonight was particularly frustrating. Mostly from a defensive point of view, I thought it's so funny how often those open threes came either Julius and drop, which, my God, as Benji says, Julius and drop is death. It's just death. Lacking physicality, guarding on some drives when, whether it was Achua or Sims out guarding the perimeter for when the Nets went small. And then, getting caught up on screens, covering guys on threes. Thought Julius's 3-point defense was exceptionally bad tonight, which is saying something. And I didn't think his offense was particularly good either. So he comes in the game then with 6:23 to go. Knicks are down by 4. And I'm, at that point, pretty worried. And what does Julius Randle do in those final 6.5 minutes? He wins them the fucking game. No, nothing else. No coda, no asterisk, no footnote, no nothing. Julius Randle won them the fucking game. Was it perfect? No, it's never perfect with Julius. He had that turnover, which almost cost them. But my God, Jalen Brunson hit I thought in terms of momentum, I think you could argue that the Jalen Brunson 3 to get it to 95-94. You could argue that was the biggest shot of the game. They needed that there. They really did. But then from there, Brunson, I believe, missed for the net. I don't think he scored another field goal because he makes that three. And then here from there, we get Julius with the fast break assist to Precious Achiuwa. We get Julius with the putback on his own miss. And then the other obvious contender for the biggest moment of the game, the Julius Randle three to put them up 101, 100 when that, and again, Brunson had missed 3 shots in a row at that point. It did not seem like he was comfortable. And for Julius to take and make that three, is that as big a shot as he's hit all season? That's up there. So what am I saying? Of course, it's the biggest shot of the game. Big shot from Brunson a few minutes earlier. Bigger shot from Randle. And then he had the turnover. And then this occurred after Brunson was blocked. So I do think he missed his last 4. That wild defensive possession. I mean, I want to go back and watch it. I know Andrew posted a clip. By the way, shout out to APJP. He's on the 1s and 2s today. Just effort, energy. It was a Knicks possession. It was a Knicks defensive possession. Just relentless doing. I mean, it sounds silly. It's a talking head thing to say, but it's doing whatever it takes to win. And his hand was, and then then that led to Julius to Jalen to Julius finishing for the fast break. And then I think it was their final bucket of the game, which was Julius to the cutting Josh Hart. And Josh Hart is the other guy that I was going to get ready to come on here and be really hard against because I did not think Josh Hart had a good game by any stretch of the imagination. Really, I mean, I think he had 1 rebound in the first half. That's not okay. Finished 1 of 7 from the game, missed his first 6 shots. But you know what? The last one, pretty important. But again, that was on Julius to find him on that bucket to put the Knicks up 4 and, all but seal the game. We had that dicey moment at the end. Jalen Brunson missed that free throw. But 2 guys who did not have good nights redeem themselves in the final minutes. So big time stuff from Julius Randle. And I know he didn't have a greatest close to the game. Like Jalen Brunson for the first 3 quarters of this one was the only thing the Knicks had going. DiVincenzo finished 4 of 10, 3 of 8 from deep. He hit a couple big shots there in the third quarter, but not his best night. We'll talk about the centers in a moment. Anunoby only took 8 shots. He only took 1 3, missed it. I said already, Randle didn't have a great game. And you look at the bench, Achiuwa did not love his first half. Thought he was had some, the Achiuwa thing. I guess we could talk about the centers now. So it's first game without Hartenstein. It wasn't terrible. And people are gonna be like, "What do you mean it wasn't terrible? I thought Sims played great." Sims was okay. Obviously, 4 blocks in the first quarter. I thought they were looking for him on offense. Did not see that one coming. I thought they were really looking to get him involved in the offense. Obviously, they went for him for a few lob opportunities. It was interesting to me that he decided to go with Achiuwa down the stretch. And I think the reason he went with Achiuwa down the stretch over Sims is because of how the Nets operate and because of the type of defense that the Knicks were, obviously the Knicks play. I think he was just going to give in to the switches rather than trust that Sims could play good enough, drop coverage, pick and roll coverage, traditional stuff. And I think it mostly paid off. I thought Achiuwa had some pretty poor switch possessions there in I want to say the third quarter in particular. Or maybe actually it might have been the fourth. Fourth. Sorry, early fourth quarter. Thought he had a couple of poor switch possessions where and Stan even commented on the broadcast on Mikal Bridges. But again, it's Mikal, and it's he's a borderline all-star level player. So I'm not going to kill him too much for that. Look, Precious played good enough down the stretch. I thought Jericho Sims played well. The two centers played better than I think I would have expected coming into the game. And if they play to that level for as long as Hartenstein is out, I don't think that they will be the reason that the Knicks lose games. That said, they went against a team tonight that has however many wins they have, 16, 17 wins. 17 wins. Like, they're playing Miami. They're playing Denver. A couple of different animals there at center in Nikola Jokic and Bam Adebayo. So, but for tonight, it was enough. For tonight, it was enough. And then I guess we could, we'll talk about the bench. So, and I exclude Hart because Hart is kind of a de facto sixth starter at this point. McBride and Grimes, big minutes, like I said, in the fourth quarter. Grimes, took 5 shots, 1 of 4 from deep. He had a couple of nice moments, couple of nice defensive moments. I didn't think his first half defensively, we talked about it on the halftime Zoom, did not think his first half defensively was particularly good. I don't know. I still get the sense that I think he's been in his own head maybe for a little while now. He has not looked comfortable to me in some time. Like, I thought he rediscovered some level of comfort after they initially moved him to the bench, and I think that has kind of dissipated. But whatever. We don't have to talk about him too much. I think that's it. I think I covered all the bases. Yeah, but again, don't let the close of the game sour anybody on how important Brunson was to this. This was, I think, the final. This is the final game that he will play before All-Star starters are announced. He's a deserving All-Star starter. I don't know if he's going to get it. He's deserving, though. And Randle, I mean, he's not going to be a starter, obviously. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tight. It's going to come down to the wire. I would skew on the side of Julius is going to be an all-star. Would not shock me if he's not. But he showed you tonight, and like, he is one of one, man. He is one of one. Man, I don't know why I'm saying man. Everybody, men, women, children, whoever. There is nobody who could frustrate you for 3 quarters like Julius Randle and then absolutely make you eat all of the shitty things you said about him with the right stretch. And you know what? We've seen a lot of games with him over the years where he's come up big in the first 3 quarters and then faltered down the stretch. I'll sign for this for sure, for him to make the big plays and hit the big shots, because they are going to need him when the pressure gets tight, come April, God willing, May, and God willing, before I die at some point, June.